All right. So I've got my notes with me, and tonight we are going to talk about the age gap discourse as it relates to men and women. The age gap discourse only part really only really pertains to an older man, basically sleeping or entertaining younger women. For example, I'm 33 years old and I end up dating a woman who is 21. Now, in the eyes of the law, we are both adults who can make our own decisions. However, in the eyes of the court of public opinion, she is infantilized, even though she can fight in a war, she can buy her own alcohol, pay her own taxes, and work a job. However, the inverse is not demonized by the court of public opinion. A woman at 33 isn't looked at weirdly for hooking up, dating, this, that, and the third for a man who's 21 and even younger. That's a topic for another video. But what we must ask ourselves is, well, why is that? And the answer is simple. It is an unwritten rule in American society that anything that a man does for his own pleasure is inherently bad. Both the conservatives, the right side, and the liberals uh, share the same sentiment that a man's value is tied to his labor and that his labor must be for the benefit of everyone except for himself. He is pretty much the worker drone bee that is expendable. And it's also why there's a big push to ban like adult movies. If you look online, you'll see like, well, adult movies are the reason why everything's so messed up in society, when really is that's not even the case. Basically, it has nothing to do with preventing minors viewing adult movies, as intentions are never about morality. Intentions are always about interest. Society functions, moves smoothly when men basically forego their own pleasure in order to sacrifice for the collective. In a sense, both religion and feminism are two sides of the same coin, which is why I have a picture of basically a quarter. I try to turn this sideways as possible for the thumbnail of this video. So both religion and feminism are a coin that exists to make men more compliant while going against basically his or their own best interests. Um, Older men taking interest in younger women has nothing to do with manipulation or running game. Basically, like, men value youth, beauty, and fertility. Uh, as Lil Wayne said, even though women change, I will always like dime. So basically, what he says is that it doesn't matter how old I get, what I always will like will remain the same. So at 21, I like a girl who was also 21 for her physical qualities, this, that, and the third. So even if I'm 42, well, I still like a girl who's 21 for the exact same reason. So it doesn't matter how far up I, as a male, go up the scale, what I find attractive, it's still going to remain constant. Now, there are some exceptions to the rules. So there are women who are older than me. I'm 33. So there are some women who are in their 50s who work out, have long hair, keep themselves in really good shape, who are still really attractive, still very viable. Um, they are the exceptions to the rule, not the rule itself. And they may be able to compete in ways that college girls can't. However, the age gap discourse is nothing more than a test for compliance. If a man says, well, I'm 33, and the lowest age that, well, the highest age, no, the lowest age I would date when it comes to a girl is 25. Well, then technically he has already lost, and pretty much he has already said that I'm afraid of going after what I really want because I fear society's disapproval. And like he says really to himself, and he tries to say it to the outside world, like, see, like I'm complying with what you want, even though it may go against my own best interest. Um, in lack of a better terms, I am being good. However, the problem becomes it's like a paradox. So it's like when you comply for the sake of compliance, people are going to punish you for it. Like you comply in order to get like that pat on the head, and it never works out that way. It's like they say to themselves and to you, it's like that idiot, and they like boop you like a bad dog who just bit your hand. Like why would you do that? Like, yeah, we said that, but you're not really supposed to do that. So, and what it boils down to is like acting out of fear is a turnoff. And I speak from experience when I say that a man loses more acting out of fear than anything else. Now, conversely, rebellion can be an aphrodisiac, but rebellion for the sake of rebellion is just being childish. But if you're rebelling, sorry, um, with direction and intent, then um, it can turn on others. For example, I was trying to hook up with a girl one night, many years ago, and while we were in her bed drinking wine, she told me something that kind of caught me off guard. And so she told me that I envy you, and I kind of looked at her sideways, like, "What for? Like, why?" And basically she told me, because like it never made sense to me, like why anyone, let alone a girl, would ever envy me. And so she like told me with a dead seriousness, like, you literally do whatever you want. Like afterwards I had to think about it, but in the moment I was like, oh, all right. And for context, we didn't end up hooking up, and that was not for a lack of effort on my part. Basically she had an ulterior motive before she had agreed to let me come over. And so, regardless of that, she was at least attracted to the fact that I was going to do whatever I felt was best for me. I would make my own decisions, regardless of like people approved it or not. So the girl in this example that I was talking about, whose house I went over to, was older than me, but still, even if I didn't want to entertain girls under 25, and I wanted to, let's say, entertain girls who were 30 and above, it would be because like I chose to do so. It would be because like it would be of my own accord. My decisions would not be directed out of fear, and that is power.